attend me in virtue through my youthful years. O lead me not to the false joys of time, but guide my steps to endless life and bliss. I have been awakened. There's a threat to our country and the sanctity of our civilization. Morals, charity, virtues. These blasphemous powers of good will bring destruction to our people and all we hold dear. Now think about this. Morals lead to responsibility, which leads to personal safety, which leads to bicycle helmets, which leads to helmet hair, and before you know it, bam! Zombie apocalypse somehow. My friends, and we are friends, aren't we? It is time we conquer the wholesome filth enriching our people. And believe it now, those Hollywood big shots at PBS are trying to get to our children, trying to make them better people and upstanding citizens. Today I want to talk about the worst perpetrator of moral non-ambiguity, the 90s cartoon Adventures from the Book of Virtues. It's meaningful garbage like this that'll corrupt our children's bitter black hearts. So heed my warning, my friends, and I will guide you to the light, dark, whatever's funnier. And just to prove my conviction of my crusade against morals and victory of evil, I have set fire to a Christian symbol on my front lawn. That flaming crucifix will get my point across and not be construed in any other way. For I am the immoral crusader, and this is Adventures from the Book of Virtue.
You know I look like a woman, but I cut like a buffalo. Stand up like a tower, tall, then I fall just like a domino.
Adventures from the Book of Virtues is definitely the show your parents, teachers, preachers, and other buzzkillers wanted you to watch. It's the first animated program to be featured on PBS in the primetime and has won numerous awards for stuff and things. But the truth is, well, it was pretty good. It had decent animation for TV, entertaining stories, and rich character development. I wanted to go into this all, fuck this, fuck that. But you know what? This cartoon's not that bad. In fact, it's a bit, what's a word I'm no longer familiar with? High quality? And that's what makes it so dangerous. The appealing visuals and strong voice acting will draw your children in like moths into fire. Or stoners into me doing this with my hands. It's mesmerizing, ain't it? So what do we got here anyways? A benign bit of Americana? Suburbanites escaping the sprawl and seeking solace with nature? An adaptation of a best-selling anthology compiled by an irrelevant political windbag? All of the above? Perhaps. This cartoon centers on Zack and Annie, two adolescent skin suits who periodically visit the magical plateau of Plato's Peak, where four talking animals must be trying their damnedest not to eat each other. Usually I'd argue that it's completely socially acceptable to take advice from talking animals. Except these animals are named after Hellenistic philosophers, so obviously the hand of man has corrupted the wilderness. The animal cast consists of four highly evolved beings that are centuries old. They help guide the kids out of predicaments by reading to them from a magic storybook, available on audiobooks as read by Tom Selleck. But these aren't your normal woodland critters. We've got Plato the buffalo, Socrates the bobcat, Aristotle the not dramatic prairie dog, and Aurora the hawk? Well, I knew Aurora was a goddess, I didn't know she was a philosopher. I mean, I know Arete, Cyrene, Theano, Fintis, Hypatia. Yeah, I don't know this Aurora, but she must exist. I mean, why would they make up a name if there are plenty of female philosophers they could have referenced? If you go by the classic philosophy theme, you could just say that each animal character represents one of the four cardinal virtues: justice, prudence, fortitude, and temperance. We can also apply this to the symbols of the four evangelists. You anime fans have me so confused. You got Luke the ox, John the eagle, Mark the lion, and Matthew the human. Or, in this case, a prairie dog. Stands upright, close enough. Also, he's the only one to wear glasses or a backpack, therefore human. I guess I had to settle on making Aristotle into a rodent. It'd be kind of awkward if one of the four animal philosophers was like a naked homeless guy living with a buffalo. Meanwhile, Zack and Annie might represent the masculine and feminine, the yin and the yang, the conscious and the subconscious, the A and the Z, the dual nature of existence. Or maybe I'm just reading way too much into this. Now what kind of tales of non-debauchery are these children exposed to? Well, each episode has a riveting title like friendship, generosity, courage, honesty, safety words, etc. The kids will face a dilemma in real life, like this goober breaking his father's camera and lying about it. Haunted by the internal damnation of guilt, the kid will seek advice from the animals. Ew, hate when the buffalo stands up. It looks weird. The animals take turns telling a story that reflects the main theme. No, except the bobcat. He's pretty useless.
Big picture,
Camera joke, right?
I'll kill you. I'm gonna fucking kill you. Maybe he's just there to provide them with Cheetos. Anyways, stories range from Greek mythology, Germanic folklore, English fairy tales, and American tall tales like George Washington and the Cherry Tree, as seen here.
George couldn't wait to try out his new hatchet on everything.
Oh shit, our first president was a psycho killer. Some stories are lifted from history, like the story of Harriet Tubman, or the legend of Alfred the Great's terrible culinary skills. The kids would return to civilization, corrupted by the virtues they acquired in the wilderness, and put a nice little bow at the end of each episode. Oh look, Annie learned not to be such a ballbuster. Parents, if you are worried that your child is seeking enlightenment from wild animals, there are warning signs. Do your kids come home with a shifted attitude and mature sensibilities? If so, they are high on virtues.
Well, I guess I just didn't realize that jury duty is all part of citizenship.
Were you talking to that buffalo again? Shit. Now, as I said before, the show had a pleasant look to it. The painted backgrounds and shading give it a very dramatic, almost Disney-fied look. Oops, budget ran out, drop the shading. As a child, you couldn't help but watch something so beautifully rendered. Very clever of you, Porchlight Entertainment. And just to add variety, the animation during the story segments changes based on the tone. Historical tales lead to realistic animation, while fables have a more cartoonish feature. Funny stories have a wacky look, and others can just be labeled as stylistic. I must say that I'm impressed with this. Not so impressed with the dialogue at times.
Smells like somebody's working in here.
Is it good for a bakery to smell like sweat? Ermigerd, killer! I just realized there's an episode about Helen Keller in this cartoon. Now, depictions of Helen Keller can go one of two routes. Truly inspiring, or unintentionally hilarious. Which route will the show take?
Helen, no!
Yeah. Truly heartwarming. I like the background music. It's all like, uh-oh, here comes Helen Keller. Now, what is this diabolical bit of animation missing? Celebrity cameos! Beyond the usual go-to voice actors of Pamela Adlon, Jim Cummings, and Frank Welker, you got Julian Sands,
Remember the commandment Mother taught us when we were young.
Tippi Hedren,
Now, are you sure you want to sell it, dear?
and Charlton Heston.
No, that is unnecessary.
The cast listing only gets more fantastic. Scott Bakula, Ed Begley Jr., Paula Poundstone, Pat Morita, Dean Cain as King Charlemagne. I swear to God that needs to be adapted to a full-length movie. And then there's my favorite pairing, John Forsythe and Elijah Wood as Daedalus and Icarus.
The Minotaur has the strength of a bull, but the cunning of a man.
Yeah, that looks like the sharpest tool in the shed. He's just lucky he didn't meet Plato. Ew, stop being a biped.
Just stay close and...
Yes. Oh, Father, isn't this wonderful?
Ever wanted to see Forsythe and Wood share the screen? That's as good as you'll get.
Father? Father!
Now he's Dedicus.
Oh, Icarus, why didn't you listen? Why didn't you listen?
Wait, what? Daedalus didn't need wings after all. He's fucking Superman. Look at that. But one thing I can compliment is that the animated adaptations remain faithful to the source materials. Happy endings aren't tacked on at the expense of the lessons. You see how the show manipulates you? Don't stray too far from your parents or you'll die. Bullshit. Kids, do whatever you want because there is no consequence for anything ever. I think my flaming crucifix just hit an underground pipeline. Obscure! Why the hell is there a burning cross on the lawn? I heard rumors about North Carolina, but I didn't think the Klan was that blunt about it. No, I set that up. It's a symbol of my immoral crusade. What the hell are you talking about? Hold on, let me pause the camera for a second. Is that off? Yeah, it's off. Immoral crusade. Remember when we were talking about making my show more popular? No? Well, remember when I talked to myself about making my show more popular? During that soliloquy, I realized that the best way to bring attention to yourself is to declare war on a common enemy. You mean a scapegoat? A good old American witch hunt. So let me guess, you're declaring war on debauchery like some kind of self-righteous evangelical prick. Oh no, that battlefield is already crowded enough. I need to think outside of the squares. Then I thought, What if I can convince people that values and virtues are a threat to our country? Then I can scare them all into watching my show and buying my books. You wrote books? Well, not yet. I'll hire ghostwriters. Word. Then I'll have super PACs buy 10,000 copies of those books, catapulting them to the top of the New York Times bestseller list. Diabolical. Who gave you this idea, Glenn Beck? No, it was William Bennett, the writer of the Book of Virtues, from which this cartoon that I was talking about is based upon. Book of Virtues? Oh yeah, that anthology that came out in 1994. Isn't Bennett that guy who's always harping on about moral decay and crap? Yep, you can create an empire of ethical pessimism. Just tell people their way of life is under attack. They'll look to you for leadership and become your army against whatever faceless foe you throw at them. But getting back to the cartoon, how much involvement did this Bennett guy have in the production? Apparently just the concept. The show doesn't reflect his, personal views. Funny enough, as the Secretary of Education, Bill Bennett supported a Western-only curriculum and opposed multicultural courses. The show, however, does borrow stories from a variety of places. Seriously? And check out the episode about patience. Plato advises Annie to be patient with a child she's tutoring who has trouble with math, suggesting that she'd eventually find a way to reach him. Bennett, however, believed in classical education and performance-based pay for teachers, pretty much penalizing them for any low test scores.
When teachers do not perform, and we can measure that by a lot of things, not just student performance, but other things, then I think those teachers need to be encouraged to go into something else.
Sometimes teaching just takes a little dose of patience, Annie.
Oh, fair enough, touche.
He's also been the host of a few talk shows. He must have the virtue of eloquence.
But I do know that it's true that if you wanted to reduce crime, you could, if that were your sole purpose, you could abort every black baby in this country and your crime rate would go down. That would be an impossible, ridiculous, and morally reprehensible thing to do. But your crime rate would go down.
Huh. Well, it's a good thing this cartoon wasn't in his hands, huh? Yeah, I have to admit, it's, pretty good. And a lot of people in my generation have fond memories of it. Which is kind of weird for a show that can be so preachy at times. I guess if you really wanted to convey ethics to the youngins, and I can't imagine why you would, this is the template to use. Intriguing stories that apply to real life. It's one thing to tell people what to believe, and it's another to show them the value of values, live by example. What I don't like is how the stories tend to deal with absolutes, as though the world is black and white, clearly good and clearly evil, which is not a view I share, but I guess the concept has been much for the kids to deal with. Just remember that those who lead the moral crusades tend to be full of shit. Yeah, that's why I'm the only one with any integrity. But you're the same. Have fun with your moral crusade. Don't light anything else on fire. Don't touch my chimenea. Alright, is this thing rolling? Alright, it's rolling, and I'm hating. Blam this piece of crap! It destroys lives! Morals will destroy our country! Embrace greed! Treat every day like Black Friday! My friends, countrymen, this immoral crusade is not cheap, so make sure to support us by donating to our super PAC, man. And don't forget to buy my new books. Interjection, The Decay of America, American America, Hopeless, How the Obama Administration something of something. The political party you're not part of is bankrupting America, and for the holidays, pick up a copy of The Christmas Sweaty Guy. Available on audiobooks as read by Tom Selleck. Well, I hate to end this episode on such a serious note, so to lighten the mood, nipple clamps. I didn't mention the music in this cartoon.
Be the one who will lead the way. The heart still finds room to give. I've got the responsibility. Oh yes, I have. It's called determination.
I didn't mention the music in this cartoon.